A very good morning to you, except that it's probably not a good morning for a lot of commuters, is it?
It's not, although of course these days so many more commuters than it used to be can now work at home, just like me, to be honest. Here I am on video being interviewed. Particularly pre-COVID, so many more people would have had to go to the office, and you're actually now getting people saying, "Hey, it's good to be on a strike. I like the strike because it's a reason for me not to have to go to work today, and I can work at home again." So it is a big difference. But of course, there are still a lot of people who, like your good selves, for instance, who have to actually physically have to go into the workplace every day, and for them, it can be a nightmare doing the travel.
Who's to blame for all of this? Why can't some sort of resolution be reached?
Oh, I really, really wish it could be. It of course, is particularly on Transport for London, it's effectively a three-way dispute between the government, the Transport for London itself, of course, and the unions. And of course, you've just been talking about the Conservative leadership contest, and that is just an added complicated factor because nobody is making any decisions at the government level. And key to TfL being able to sort out the disputes with the unions is for them to understand how much money they're going to get from the government to be able to negotiate with them and then actually deliver on the promise they make to them at the end. Because that of course, is the key challenge at the moment, is that TfL don't know how much money they've got and therefore don't feel able to negotiate a settlement with the unions. And in the meantime, the passenger suffers. And also, critically, I think the other thing that happens is that there's going to be less money going around because a good portion of Transport for London, as it is on National Rail, is funded by passenger rail fares or bus fares, as the case may be. And if there's less of them or people decide, as they might do, hey, I'm going to buy a car now, or not give up the car in the way I plan to respond to the cost of living crisis, then that means less income, not just today, not just the loss of today's income, for TfL, but the loss of income every day going forward. And that's a real challenge because that means that there's less money in the pot to pay staff wages.
And passengers, I think, probably getting a bit confused as to what should be happening because clearly the union's saying they're trying to talk to the separate rail companies in the national rail dispute and indicating perhaps the government ought to step in. The government saying, no, it's up to the individual train companies to sort out the agreements with the union.
Yeah, absolutely, and the reality, of course, is both have a role to play. It is the train companies that are the people doing the actual negotiating, but before they can negotiate, they need to know the rules of the game they need to follow from the government because the way the rail industry works now, and effectively, although the mechanics are a bit different, the same applies to TfL. Public transport requires subsidy. The government decides how much that subsidy is going to be, and then the people that are the operating entities, whether that's TfL or the rail companies, are the people that deliver and do the final negotiations with the unions. But they can't negotiate until the government gives them a sum of money to do that negotiation. And I rather suspect that sum of money isn't going to be sorted out and agreed until after the Conservative leadership election and whether Rishi Sunak or Liz Truss, whatever they decide their priorities for money are.